Why did you make the decision that you did?
Well, the president very carefully has been thinking through his options. He was handed a Pandora's box of problems when he became president. And he did not act like George Bush did and run in and suddenly start a war with Syria. He has been very carefully moving forward, but the problem is that this issue is not clear. It is not clear who they intend to arm in Syria. They are looking at people who are Sunni, and they're attacking them, appearing to be the Air Force for the Kurdish and the Shia. And there's a real problem if you're going to try and negotiate or divide or split, or how are you going to deal with ISIS? ISIS is made up of Shia, some radicals, and some who are clearly from the Iraq army.
No, it isn't clear, obviously. So why is the president moving ahead with that?
Well, that's why I voted no. I didn't give him authorization to arm them, because I didn't know he was going to arm. I mean, we've armed a lot of people. We've armed the Taliban. We've armed a lot of people in the course of time. Not intentionally, but that's what winds up. We put some arms over there, and suddenly it's turned around and used against us. I'm afraid the same is going to happen here, and that's why I said no. I didn't think we should begin yet. I want to see the whole plan. If you're going to have some kind of operation here, it isn't just going to be arming 5,000 Syrians. And I want to see it all, and I think we'll have that debate when we come back in December.
I understand that you suggest that the Bush administration may be ultimately responsible for this, but shouldn't the president President Obama have moved sooner to take some action instead of calling ISIL junior varsity?
Well, you know, there was an opportunity. There was the opportunity of the chemical weapons. And some of us said, now, wait a minute, before you go in there, let's think about it. And lo and behold, what happened was the Russians came forward. The Americans and the Russians took all the chemical weapons out. I don't think necessarily military power is the answer to everything. There are a lot of people in the Congress who think that American power is invincible. It is not invincible. We were not able to control what was going on in Iraq by ourselves. We have never figured out what's going on in Afghanistan. We didn't do it in Vietnam. Military power is not the answer. There has to be some diplomatic side to this, and I want to see what the president's got in mind in that regard.
Yeah, the leader of Iran calls the U.S. coalition, or the U.S.-led coalition, ridiculous. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, I'm not going to go to that level. I think that it is yet to be seen. The president is trying to put it together. One of the things he's saying is there's a new government in Iraq. It looks like it'll be more inclusive than the government of Maliki. We stayed with Maliki way too long, in my view. We should have gotten him out of there a long time ago, but he's now out, and they're putting a government together. Now, they haven't picked a defense minister. They haven't picked an interior minister. That is the internal control.
Right.
And so it is a baby government. So he's got to work slowly and see how they actually work together, because how do you rearm the army that just threw their arms down and ran away?
The Free Syrian Army also is fighting Bashar al-Assad. Syria is against ISIL, Iran is against ISIL, but we don't deal with them.
You're only adding complexity to it, you know, because the fact is that the Iranians are supporting Assad, and if we're going to take on the Free Syrian Army, they're taking on Assad. Well, how can we say we want to get rid of Assad, we want a regime change in Syria, when we are going to be fighting ISIL, who is against? I mean, everywhere you look, there's another shade of gray, and that's why I'm very reluctant. I want to see when we get some Saudis who want to go on the ground, or some Jordanians, or some Emiratis, or some Turks. I mean, you've got a whole bunch of people in the neighborhood who are sitting back and saying, well, you know, we're supportive, but we're not going to put troops on the ground. Well, that's going to put us in a terrible, terrible position eventually.